Janesville. Welcome to Park Place Views, brought to you by the City of Janesville and JATVMedia Services. I'm your host, Molly Nolte, and I'm the Management Information Specialist in the City Manager's Office. This monthly program aims to keep Janesville residents informed by highlighting the people, places, events, and partners in the City of Janesville. On last month's episode, we turned the cameras on our friends here at JATV and spoke with station manager Alan Luckett about all the good work being done here in the studio and out in the community. If you're interested in viewing past episodes of Park Place Views, they're available to watch on the city's website or JATV's YouTube channel. On this month's episode, I'll be catching up with the manager of the Information Technology Office, also known as IT, Gordy LaChance. Gordy was hired as the Information Technology Specialist in 2000 and promoted to Information Technology Manager in 2006. He has a bachelor's degree in computer science from the American Institute for Computer Sciences. Gordy is also a Wisconsin certified public manager. Prior to his employment with the city, Gordy served the United States Navy for 30 years, ending his career as a Command Master Chief. Thank you for joining me here today, Gordy.
Hi, how are you doing?
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about yourself other than what I've talked about?
Not really, but 30 years in the Navy it seems like it would be a long time, but it went by very quickly, and it gave me experiences you just couldn't gain any other way. So I've lived all over the Far East, which gave me a pretty good insight into people and different cultures. But the more important thing is for my job here, while I was in the Navy, I worked on pretty much every type of computer there is. I worked on little tiny microcomputers all the way up to large mainframes and the Cray supercomputers. So it was a fun experience and kind of gave me an opportunity to come back here and use some of those skills in a different way.
Well, thank you for your service, and we're glad to have you and all of your skills here with the city. So I'm willing to bet that a lot of people probably don't know all of the work being done by the IT office and your staff, since everything's usually behind the scenes. So can you just tell us about some of the daily functions of the office and the overall functions that you do in IT?
Sure. IT has changed over the years. Initially it was just computers and printers and maybe putting some files out, maybe a website. These days it covers just about every aspect of information within a city. So we run fax machines, we run copy machines, we run the telephone system, we run voicemail, the normal file services, email, things like that. But there isn't any aspect of the city that doesn't touch IT. So police, fire, water utility, cemetery even, places you wouldn't expect to use IT services. And that's a major change. It's not so much, okay, my computer doesn't work, come help me fix it and things like that. It's not just that. It's now my phone doesn't work, or the video signal's not getting out, the video surveillance system isn't working, the control system isn't working for traffic signals, heating system isn't working, ventilation, those types of things. Wow. So it's a much more complex environment than it used to be, and so you'll find IT workers everywhere.
Well, I can't imagine all of the equipment and just everything that you and your staff use on a daily basis. So can you give us a little bit of background about some of those software systems and just everything kind of in play in the city?
Sure. If you look at our major software packages, Microsoft Office, everybody pretty much uses that. So that's their ability to communicate, draft messages, put PowerPoints out, put publications out, things of that nature. So that's probably the most used application in the city, even though it's probably not the most complex. Next in line would be, we use enterprise resource planning software called Govern. And Govern pretty much controls the assessment process for property values. Linked into that is permitting, water billing, complaints, things of that nature. We use another fairly complex system for financials, New World. And when you look at Govern, New World, and Office, pretty much every city employee uses those particular products. Then you branch out to some of the larger processes, but maybe not as heavily used. So We run Fleet Focus, which takes care of the fleet and the vehicle maintenance. We run a GIS system, a Geographic Information System, providing internal maps and external maps that are available on our website. There's Granicus that we use to stream video to provide the public with quite a bit of information, from agendas to meeting minutes. It controls the meetings for all of our boards and committees where the voting and all that is happening via Granicus. So that's become a bigger and bigger system as time has gone on. There's many others, but those are kind of the big hitters.
Yeah, that's already a lot. I've only asked you a couple questions and I'm already learning things from you. So as technology changes, which it seems to do quite often, how do you and your staff in the IT office keep up?
Well, anybody who works in IT knows that if you don't like change, you're in the wrong business. There is just nothing static in the IT world. Pretty much any piece of software or any piece of hardware that we buy is obsolete the day we buy it. I mean, literally, by the time it goes to manufacturing, it's already been a new design out there.
Wow.
So you're constantly looking at, what is out there that's new. Do I need to change what I currently have? Can I live with what I have for a few years and not have to spend a lot more money? But we take courses offered by various manufacturers. Most of us subscribe to a number of technical journals that kind of gives you an indication of what's showing up on the horizon. Obviously, just like everything else, the internet's a big source of information and misinformation. The good thing is that most of us have the technical skills to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff and
Sure.
find the things that are useful on it. And then there's a lot of attempts to get into our systems, and so we're constantly patching security holes. And while that is a kind of a routine task, you'll learn a lot while you're doing that, because you'll learn the types of things that hackers are going after. You'll learn what they target, how they target it, and it forces you to get into your system and learn it a lot better.
Wow. So let's switch gears just a little bit. During the 2018 budget season, the City Council approved a new IT position. And as I understand it, this is a really exciting thing for the IT office. So what can you tell us about that IT position and really what it's going to mean to the residents of Janesville?
Certainly, it's a restoral of really a position that was used in a different manner many years ago. We've gone 12 years without it, and it's been very, very difficult. What this does is it allows us to provide a lot better service to police and fire, because they have a full-time employee that does nothing but take care of their problems. And the position is a help desk position, which is the person that you're going to call when you're having trouble with either something in a police squad car, a fire truck, a desktop computer within the police or fire department, those types of things. And so all that type of work, we prioritize public safety because it is public safety. Sure. And that takes away from the day-to-day activities for the other people in the office. So, bringing in that work and trying to distribute it amongst the rest of us and absorb that workload has been extremely difficult. So now we're going to get a body to come in there and do that kind of work for us and help out with all of that. And while that is a big deal for police and fire, it's also a big deal for the citizens, because now people are freed up to work on some of the things that we couldn't work on before. I like to refer to it as we stomp out forest fires when you don't have enough people. So you're hitting the things that are really, really important, but a lot of jobs that really cause frustration for our users either take weeks or months to get solved, and sometimes they never get solved. Now some of those will get solved, and the way that impacts citizens is that they have a much better chance of being able to interact with a city employee and not have technology get in the way of their interactions. So I guess that's the best benefit for the citizens.
That's great. We're excited to bring that new person on. That should be happening pretty soon, I think.
Pretty soon. We're interviewing now, and so we're hoping within a month we have a new person on board.
Great. Well, the IT office also supports the city's website, and we obviously use the city's website for a lot of different resources. So let's talk a little bit about the tools that our residents can use when they visit our website. You mentioned Granicus earlier, so what can you tell me about Granicus?
Certainly. Granicus, we put in, I would say, probably around 2008 or so. Initially, all we did with it was stream out videos of our city council meeting. That was it. And very useful, providing that service. It gets a lot of activity, more than some people think, and it helps the staff because we can go back and look things up without having to dig through and find a videotape recorder like we used to have to do, and dig through the videos. So that was its initial purpose. We later were able to integrate the agendas. And so we got to the point where we could put the agendas online, and more importantly, all the supporting documents with the agendas online. And we can do it before the meeting, so the members of the public don't have to come to City Hall or don't have to try and find a source. It's right there online. You can look at the agenda. You can see if it's something that you want to come and attend the meeting for. If you just want to view it, the live stream is always there, and then you can replay it afterwards. So the agendas and the video itself are available in an archive section going back since the day we started doing it, and so they're all in there. Additionally, we added minutes. That came a little bit later, so now the minutes are part of that. We're hoping to get closed captioning running here very soon.
That's great.
It's been a kind of a technical hurdle for us to get a good closed captioning and being able to open up where people can come into our system and put the actual caption on without opening it up to the bad guys to come into our system and do things that we don't want it to do. Right. So we think we've got that solved and we're ready to go. But Granicus has a lot of features. So if you look at our website and try to go to Granicus, first of all, it's kind of intimidating if you've never done it because the screen is not as user-friendly as you might expect it to be. Once you use it, it's easy, but the first time you go to it, you see all upcoming meetings and you think that's all that's there. Mm-hmm. But there's all the archive meetings. We've got them laid out by year, which makes things pretty easy to go for. And then we've got a search feature, and that's the part that people don't use very often, and it's extraordinarily powerful. So for instance, you want to find out, that, a couple of years ago they had this thing that were talking about dog parks. And I can't remember when, and I don't know who it was. So you go into the search feature and you type in dog parks, and it pops up every single meeting, whether it's a commission meeting, a board meeting, or a council meeting, where the subject or the item that was being discussed was dog parks. And it's right there. It's easy to find. It links to the videos. It links to the agenda items, so you can get right to it, and it's very, very powerful. So I think with this presentation today, we're going to attempt to do something a little different here and provide a demo. Mm-hmm. So at this point in time, we're going to cut into a demo of just a quick demonstration of how Granicus operates.
Great.
From the home page, click on Public Meeting Materials and Video Title. This will take you to the page where Granicus material is presented. In the middle of the page is the section that displays upcoming events, the search control, and the archived meetings. You scroll through the entries on the screen to find your desired information. Here we'll open up the archived city council meetings. As you can see, the meetings are listed by year. One of the features of this system that doesn't get a lot of use is the search feature. You don't have to remember when a subject was discussed or even which board and committees were involved. Just enter a search term. It can be an ordinance number, subject matter, or location. For this demo, we will be using the location Sauk Drive. The search quickly returns all the meetings where the subject refers to Sauk Drive. This includes several council and planning commission meetings. You can click on one of the highlighted items and go directly to that entry. You can also click on the agenda or video link to get to the entire meeting. For this demo, we will click on the agenda. As you can see, it will bring up the agenda and the video of the meeting you selected. You can scroll through the agenda and view the supporting documents or bring up any other items from the meeting.
So there's a great tool on the city's website for people who are interested in learning about Janesville's budget, their finances, and their performance. What can you tell our viewers about Open Budget?
Certainly. We put Open Budget on, once again, this came in segments. We started out with just the budget itself. We purchased a product called, we purchased a license for a product called Socrata. Extremely complicated to set up, but once it's set up, it gives you real-time information on the budget itself. How much was budgeted? Where was it budgeted to? Which departments have it? And kind of the execution of it. We added an expenditures piece later. The expenditures is another Socrata site. They're two separate sites. The expenditure site allows anyone to see where we're spending our money, right down to the dollar. What department spent it? How much did they spend? Where did they spend it at? Which vendors did they pick? What were they buying? So the public can go in and see where we're spending our money.
Yep.
They can see, that if they got a question, they can come back and they can ask a question about why did you pick this vendor or that vendor, or why is all this money going, or how come, there's $10,000 going to this, it doesn't make sense, and you have an opportunity to explain that to the public. And the third piece was really the performance piece, and that was the last piece put in, and I understand that's undergoing a kind of a design revision internally at this point in time. But that piece of software, once again, it's another Socrata piece, so it's the third site, if you will, under the umbrella of the open performance, the open government. And what it does is there's a number of goals that the city has with our strategic plan. And so the idea was to try and find some kind of measurements where we can show the public what we're doing to accomplish those goals and put those on a live situation where they can see it and they can keep going back and it's always updated. So all three of those systems are real time. So you're getting the same information that the city employee gets. I mean, it's right up to date. It's complex. It's fun. But once again, it's intimidating if you've never been into it. Once you start playing around, not too bad, but you got to go there the first time and you got to figure out what the headings actually mean and what the links actually mean. And so once again, at this point in time, we try to show just a simple demo of where it's at on the website and how to navigate to the three pieces.
Yep, so we can go right to the city's homepage, and then there's a link there that we can click into, and we can show folks how to use that now.
Right.
You will begin on the city's website's homepage. On the right-hand side, under Find It Fast, click Open Janesville Transparency Portal. To view the city's budget information, click Open Budget. A new window will open where you can explore Janesville's revenue budget or operating budget. If you choose Open Budget, you can view a breakdown of the city's different departments, such as Public Works. You can view each division's revenue budget and access additional visual tools by using the menu on the right-hand side of the screen. To view the operation budget, go back and click Explore Operating Budget. Here you will see a similar breakdown of departments, and you can explore their operating budgets, such as the Janesville Police Department. Again, you have a breakdown and additional visual tools. In addition to the budget, you can go back to the city's website and access expenditure information. Here you are able to explore all of the city's spending and how each department and division utilizes funds. Again, you are able to see these numbers by using different visual tools.
So within the last couple of years, we've modernized our payment methods for our residents and our property owners. So what can you explain about eGov and how people can use it?
Certainly. Once again, eGov is another system that has it has grown considerably in its usage over the years. It was a product initially we used to display property values. So under our old systems, we basically just had spreadsheets and a couple of things that would give a citizen the opportunity to look up how much their property was worth, what their taxes may be, a few items about it, but not really in detail. That went into a system called GVS, which gave a little bit better information. And when we put govern in, we got the eGov capability. So eGov initially displayed property values. You could type in your address or you could type in your parcel number, and it will bring up what's called a property record card that shows you everything about your property, including a photo. And it's not just your property, it's any property in the city that you can look up. Over time, we added tax bills to it, so you can look up the tax bills and get an idea of the history of taxing. It gives a history of the permits that have been issued against that property. And eventually, we got to the point where we could take online credit card payments, and it took a very long time because of the restrictions about how we can recover our costs, because taking a credit card, you have to pay a fee as the merchant. And that means we have to find a way to pay that, and it was very difficult to find a fair way that was legal within the structure. Some things within the state you can build that fee into the fee you charge, but with utility bills you can't do that. So we ended up finding a way to get around that, and so we started taking utility bill payments in the eGov. There's some work to get it where we can do simple permits in that, although that's once again taking a little bit more thought, because there's so many supporting documents that go with a permit. So do you want a citizen to pay up front and not have the permit issued while you wait to get the documents or not? So there's a little bit of work to go through that. But that's what eGov is all about, is giving a citizen a chance to go in there. And there's other restrictions. With property you can look up any property, but with the utility bill by state law, only the person who pays the bill basically, or the owner of a property, can look up that. And so that's a bit more restrictive. So if you want to do utility bills, you have to create a named account within the eGov system so that you can get to your property. And once again, we'll give a quick demo of how to navigate that system and what it can do for you.
You will begin on the city's website's homepage. On the right-hand side under Find It Fast, click Pay My Utility Bill. From there, you can click the blue squares that say Utility Billing. Your utility bill will have an account as indicated on the graphic here. Enter your account number in the Payment ID box and click Find. Verify the information is correct and select the amount you'd like to pay. You may edit this box, then click Add to Cart. At this time, enter your email address, confirm your email address, and add credit card information. Then you are ready to pay.
Are there other tools on the city's website that you'd like to highlight other than the ones we've already talked about?
There's so much information on our website. I mean, it's just tremendous amount of information. It's daunting, even for me. I go in and, as you know, I have to go to people like you and where's this at? Because it's not easy to find all that information. You know it's there. You're pretty sure as a citizen that it should be there. Just where is it? And you can't put all the topics on the home page. There's just too many of them. And so you try and find your way around. But some of the things we have is the ability to register a complaint or a comment and send that to the city, request a open record, just a number of things along that line. And once again, we'll kind of throw a little bit of a demonstration on where that is on the website.
You will begin on the city's website's homepage. From there, use the I Want To tab to find the Submit option. When you click Submit, as you can see, you can submit a claim, comment, a police tip, or request for service online. If you click Comment, you will access all of the drop-down menus and categories. For example, you could submit a comment about code enforcement. If you notice graffiti on a public space, you may report it here, or you can also submit a request for a city service online. A common one is reporting potholes. You would click Streets and Sidewalks, expand the Potholes menu, click the report link, and then the form. From here you can fill out the form, submit your email if you'd like to, and click Submit. Once you submit a comment, claim, or request, it goes directly to the appropriate staff person for attention.
I'm hoping at some point in time we can throw a lot of demo videos on the website so that people can get an idea how to navigate through the maze, because despite the fact that the website, I think, has grown tremendously over the years in usability, I don't think you can put the depth and breadth of information that we have out there and not have information be lost to a user.
Right. It's a good idea, and I think that's something that we can partner on and work to improve the website and give people some extra information.
Right, and one of the things that you have to keep in mind is just because we work in IT doesn't mean we're experts on any portion of this. And so, you know, we have to rely on the people who use that portion of the website or design that portion of the website to really show people how that's done.
So, Gordy, the last time you were here on Park Place Views, that was a few years ago, cybersecurity was a big topic, and you've already touched on it a little bit with, you know, patching security and things like that. So, is that something you continue to be concerned about, and what can the community do to protect themselves?
If anything, it's gotten worse. You know, I tell people, and this is not an exaggeration, we probably have people trying to hack our system maybe 1,000 times an hour.
Wow.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
That's
365 days a year. And that's just people trying to come in and attack the system. And that's not the biggest threat. Your bigger threat are phishing emails and things of that nature. They become very targeted. Things like, you know, for instance, you know, people can go on our open expenditure, find out a vendor we deal with, and craft an email that disguises an invoice to a vendor that they know that we just recently made a purchase with, and come in, and it's very hard to determine that that's an illegitimate email. Emails come in just like phone calls now, where people spoof who it is that's sending. So it can be somebody that you recognize. It can be a phone number that you recognize, and it's not that person. So for a citizen, what you really have to do is you have to think long and hard about opening an attachment to an email, or sometimes even opening the email itself. You know, a dedicated hacker is going to get in. You're not going to stop them. It's just if you see things that are unusual, just turn your machine off and get something. But when you start getting emails, think about it. Think kind of outside the box on it. So, for instance, if you receive an email from the IRS, ask yourself, really? Why would the IRS email me? Or one of my favorites is Microsoft. Microsoft is contacting you because you have a virus on your computer. Microsoft has no idea who you are. They don't know your email address. And there's no way for them to know that information. But because the urgency of the email is such that you want to react to it, you're going to take action on it without thinking it through. So I guess the best thing to tell people, just think before you act. And that's the safest way to avoid most problems. But pretty much everybody at some point in time is going to have something bad happen, and there's just no way around it. If you haven't had it happen, you're lucky, and, you know, count your lucky stars. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, hopefully you and your team will continue the good work that you do, keeping those bad guys out of our system. So we're just about out of time. Is there anything else that we've missed that you'd like to talk about? Anything else you'd like to share with our viewers at home?
I think the other thing to think about is these days we look for as many opportunities as we can to share systems, information between agencies. Used to be everybody was a silo. So Rock County operated as Rock County. The city of Janesville was the city of Janesville. City of Beloit's the city of Beloit. And, you know, you didn't really share much between. So at this point in time, the city of Janesville has built a lot of fiber. And so we've partnered with quite a few people, actually. So we have the Rock County uses our fiber for some of their activities to go to the job center and to the Rock County Courthouse, and actually to get to their ISP provider. We've got the university system, Madison, Whitewater, and the Rock County campuses all interconnected using our fiber. We got some activities from Beloit using our fiber. We got the Janesville School District also using our fiber. And those are all cooperative agreements that we've entered into because it just makes sense. The taxpayer pays for it. Let's share this as much as we can.
Right.
and, and try and reduce each of our costs. In the future, we're looking at sharing software systems. We all have GIS systems. They're very expensive, a lot of high quality talent. Maybe we can make a center of excellence and have one place that does it and we all subscribe to it. Same thing for document management or finance systems or, pretty much anything that we do. And having the fiber in place, which allows us to have high-speed communication without having to pay for very expensive lease lines, has opened up a lot of opportunities for us. So I think over the next probably 5 to 10 years, and I think it's really that far out before we're able to really take advantage and be able to kind of coexist, if you will. You're going to see a lot of work towards that, and maybe being able to take places like villages and smaller cities that can't have a GIS system or can't afford to run a document manager to be able to subscribe to our services. It kind of mirrors what you've seen with the fire department. It mirrors what law enforcement did years ago with centralized dispatch. And so that's kind of the things that we're looking at, and that's probably the biggest initiative you're seeing out of IT.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Gordy, so much for joining me today and informing us and all of our viewers about what's been going on in IT. And thank you, viewers at home, for tuning in. Next month, we'll be catching up with Shelley Slaypack in the Recreation Division. In addition to tuning into this program on a monthly basis, stay connected to the City of Janesville by following us on Facebook or Twitter. You can also sign up to receive emails with our press releases and other important information. And you can subscribe to get emergency alerts from Janesville Police Department on Nixle. For Park Place Views and the City of Janesville, I'm your host, Molly Nolte. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.